Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. At that time, Jesus came to Jericho and intended to pass through the town. Now a man there named Zacchaeus, who was a chief tax collector and also a wealthy man, was seeking to see who Jesus was. But he could not see him because of the crowd, because he was short in stature. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree in order to see Jesus, who was about to pass that way. When he reached the place, Jesus looked up and said, "Zacchaeus, come down quickly, for today I must stay at your house." And Zacchaeus came down quickly and received him with joy. When they all saw this, they began to grumble, saying, "He has gone to stay at the house of a sinner." But Zacchaeus stood there and said to the Lord, "Behold, half of my possessions, Lord, I shall give to the poor. And if I have extorted anything from anyone, I shall repay it 4 times over." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a descendant of Abraham. For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save what was lost." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
He was a little guy. He was also a very rich guy. He was rich because he robbed people. I guess in today's parlance we might say he was a thief. Polite thief. But what he did was, in collecting taxes for the Romans, not a particularly good job, although it was very good in the way it paid. He took from the people extorted rates, and so he could send the taxes off to Rome and still have a very abundant amount of money left over for himself. So he was hardly what you'd call a Boy Scout or a Boy Scout leader. But he was determined to see who this Jesus was. He wanted to see Jesus, to see what he was all about, to see all the things that Jesus was, to understand better who Jesus was and could be in his life. You will remember, I am sure, that when some of the apostles wondered who Jesus was, he said to them, "Come and see. Walk with me a little while. See what I do. See how I act. And then you will know what my name is." Because that's what the disciples had asked. "What is your name? Who are you?" Come and see. So Zacchaeus because he's a short little guy, and there's huge crowds following Jesus, he cannot see Jesus, because Jesus would be in the midst of all the crowds. So what did he do? He climbed a tree, a sycamore tree, in order that he might see Jesus. And then St. Luke tells us that he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore tree in order to see Jesus, who was about to pass that way. So he may be short, and he may be a thief, and he may be very rich, but he's also pretty bright about how you get to see somebody if you can't look over a crowd. He climbed a tree in order to see Jesus. And Jesus says to him, "Come on down." That was before the game show. "Come on down. I have to be in your house tonight." That's the way the scriptures put it. "Come on, I want to have supper with you." And of course, the minute he does that, what does the crowd start doing? Right? They're muttering, "How can this man eat with sinners?" Okay? Now, what was his sin? His sin mainly was being a tax collector. All the tax collectors were considered to be sinful, cast away, cast out. Don't want to have anything to do with those terrible people who are collecting taxes. Now, anybody here that might be working for the IRS, that does not apply to you. But the thing is, the people did not like the fact that Jesus would eat with these people, that he would share a meal. What is more intimate in a certain sense in our public daily lives than sharing a meal with a family? So Jesus is there in the midst of all of that, all the murmuring going on, and what does Zacchaeus do? Zacchaeus says to Jesus, "Behold, half of my possessions, Lord, I shall give to the poor. And if I have extorted anything from anyone, I shall return it 4 times over." Think about 50% of your income and giving it to the poor. Pretty healthy stuff, right? 50% of my income I'm going to give to the poor. Now you could say, showing off. Or you could say, conversion. This man saw Jesus and he changed his way of life. He knew who Jesus was, and he was changed. He said, "I will give half, 50% of everything I have, I'm going to give to the poor." And then he said, "If I've extorted anybody," so he was aware of his sinfulness, "if I have extorted anyone, I will return that extortion 4 times over." Zacchaeus saw who Jesus was because he had climbed the tree that made it possible for him to see Jesus. And in that climbing, he was converted. He was changed. Now, I think most of us think about conversion as Catholics as being those people who come to our faith after either having shared another faith or having no faith at all. And we rejoice in their conversion. We rejoice in their change. We help them to see who Jesus was. We help them to see who Jesus is. And so there is great rejoicing at Easter time in particular, or this afternoon, when we will receive 3 people into the church who have made the spring conversion time. And then at Easter time, we will receive many more. And we will say they are converts to our faith. What a great gift they are to us. They have seen Jesus in our community, and they want to join us here. That's the normal way we think of conversion. But what about our conversion? Are we willing to change in order to better see who Jesus is? Will we climb the tree of our own selfishness and open our minds and hearts to the needs of those who live right here in this area? Will we help ourselves to give to the poor? Will we climb the tree of our own racism and welcome our brothers and sisters of different faiths, of different colors, into our midst because we have seen Jesus? Will we climb the tree of our own daily worries? How am I going to pay my bills? Who's going to fix my electricity? Can I hold on to the house? Will we be able to clean the things we need to clean? All these things that we worry about, our families. Will that child grow into something we really will be proud of, even though he's beating the drum of anger at us every day? When we climb the tree of whatever it is, we climb it in order to see Jesus. And who is Jesus? Jesus is the one who says to us, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened." Is there anybody here that isn't under that moment? Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will make you whole. Jesus says to us every day, come and see. Find out who I am. And then, like Zacchaeus, change your life. We all of us, need to hear the message that Zacchaeus brings to us. This little man who had an enormous conversion because he climbed a tree and saw who Jesus really was.